Imagine standing in a vast, open savanna under a scorching sun, the horizon stretching endlessly, dotted with thorny acacia trees. The air vibrates with the distant calls of animals, an alarmed baboon chattering, a lone saber-toothed cat padding silently over dry grass, and the rhythmic, almost hypnotic sound of a distant river. This is Africa, 2.1 million years ago, a world where survival is a daily challenge, and every shadow could hide a predator or prey. Now consider the beings navigating this unforgiving landscape. Early humans, our distant ancestors, not yet armed with language as we know it, but equipped with an extraordinary potential to adapt, observe, and collaborate. Have you ever wondered how these primitive tribes managed to hunt collectively without spoken words or structured plans? The answer lies in observation, subtle gestures, and a growing understanding of the environment. Imagine a small band of Homo habilis, their eyes scanning the horizon, muscles coiled for action, communicating through glances, hand signals, and rhythmic sounds, preparing to bring down creatures far larger than themselves. This moment, seemingly primitive, is actually the dawn of human ingenuity. Their world was dangerous, unpredictable, yet full of opportunity. Herds of antelope grazed cautiously, unaware of the silent observers nearby. Scavengers lurked at the periphery, always ready to seize an advantage. For early humans, every hunt required coordination, timing, and trust, a complex social challenge long before words could express it. As you visualize this scene, consider the implications. Without language, without modern tools, our ancestors were laying the foundations of social cooperation, a trait that would define our species for millions of years. The tension of the hunt, the thrill of the chase, and the reliance on one another created bonds that were crucial for survival. If this glimpse into 2.1 million years ago fascinates you, take a moment to like this video and share your thoughts in the comments. What would you have done if you were part of such a hunt? Could you imagine communicating with gestures alone, coordinating silently with your tribe as a giant beast approached? These are the first sparks of the human story, where ingenuity meets the raw pulse of life. And as the sun begins to dip below the horizon, painting the savanna in hues of fire and gold, the stage is set for the first collective hunts, a dance of survival, strategy, and the earliest echoes of human collaboration, leading us seamlessly into the next chapter. The environment that shaped these extraordinary hunters. Step into a world 2.1 million years ago, where the landscape is a dynamic mosaic of savannas, woodlands, and scattered wetlands. The climate is shifting, teetering between warmer periods and the onset of the cooler glacial phases that will define the Pleistocene. Vast grasslands stretch endlessly, punctuated by clusters of hardy trees and thorny bushes, offering both refuge and peril. Streams meander through the terrain, their waters nourishing the countless species that roam this ancient land. This era is marked by an incredible richness of megafauna. Towering elephants, massive hippos, and herds of antelopes share the plains with formidable predators like saber-toothed cats and giant hyenas. Each species is finely tuned to its ecological niche, and survival is a relentless pursuit of balance. The predators are relentless, yet the prey species are cunning, constantly evolving strategies to evade death. For early humans, this environment is both a classroom and a battleground, a place where observation of animal behavior could mean the difference between hunger and feast. Water sources become focal points, natural arenas where predator and prey cross paths. Here, our ancestors learn, adapt, and experiment. The smell of wet earth, the rustle of grass underfoot, and the sudden flight of a startled herd become critical information, cues, that guide early strategies for hunting and survival. The land is not just a backdrop, it is a living, breathing participant in the story of human evolution. In this setting, Resources are never guaranteed. Food and water scarcity pushed the early humans to innovate, forging the first social structures and collaborative strategies. Every tree, rock, and stream could either conceal danger or offer opportunity. This environment is unforgiving, yet it is also the crucible in which human ingenuity and cooperation are forged. As the wind whispers across the grasses and the distant roar of a predator cuts through the air, we begin to see why these landscapes shape not only the physical development of early humans, but also their cognitive and social growth. The challenges of the Pleo-Pleistocene era demand adaptation, keen observation, and cooperation, setting the stage for the next chapter: the evolution of the hominids themselves and the cognitive tools they bring to the hunt. Picture a small group of early hominids navigating the expansive savanna. Their figures are lean yet muscular, movements deliberate and purposeful. These are not yet the Homo sapiens we recognize today. They are Homo habilis and early Homo erectus, beings whose physicality is matched by an emerging intelligence that sets them apart from the other animals around them. Their hands, capable of precise grip and manipulation, are constantly exploring the environment, testing stones, breaking branches, and learning the limits of their tools. These simple instruments, rudimentary though they may seem, are extensions of their minds. A carefully struck stone could become a cutting tool, a weapon, or a means of processing food, demonstrating an early understanding of cause and effect. Their brains are growing, not just in size, but in complexity, enabling them to plan ahead, anticipate danger, and assess opportunities. But cognition is more than tool-making. Early hominids are observers of the natural world. They watch herds of antelope, noting their grazing patterns, the alarm calls that signal predators, and the subtle cues that reveal weaknesses. They begin to predict the behaviors of other species, a mental mapping that will later become crucial for coordinated hunting. Cooperation emerges as a natural necessity. Survival demands teamwork, whether in driving game into traps or in sharing vital knowledge about water sources and shelter. Without language as we know it, these hominids rely on gestures, facial expressions, and sounds. A raised hand, a bark-like call, or the rhythmic pounding of sticks communicates critical information. Move now, danger approaches, follow me. In these primitive signals, we see the foundation of social intelligence, the first sparks of structured collaboration that will define humanity's path forward. Consider the sheer audacity of these beings, confronting predators larger and faster than themselves, experimenting with new tools, and learning to cooperate without formalized speech. Every day is a test of ingenuity and adaptability, a crucible in which the cognitive and social faculties of humans are honed. And as they look across the savanna, preparing for their next hunt, they embody the critical link between instinct and intelligence, setting the stage for the formation of organized groups that will ultimately master the art of collective hunting. As the sun climbs higher over the vast savanna, the early hominids gather in small, tight-knit bands. These groups are more than mere clusters of individuals. They are living networks of cooperation, mutual protection, and shared knowledge. Survival is a team effort, and even in the absence of complex language, patterns of socialization emerge. Facial expressions, body postures, and subtle vocalizations communicate urgency, curiosity, or caution. Every glance matters. Every gesture carries meaning. Cooperation is born out of necessity. The largest prey cannot be felled by alone. Hunter. Even scavenging requires coordination to avoid confrontations with larger predators. These early humans are learning the first rules of social cohesion: who takes the lead, who watches the flanks, and who signals danger. Over time, roles solidify naturally, not dictated by formal hierarchy, but by experience, strength, and skill. The environment rewards those who can anticipate the actions of both prey and fellow humans, and punishment is implicit. Failure to cooperate may mean starvation or death. Imagine a scenario where a small herd of antelope grazes near the edge of a woodland. One hominid spots the movement and freezes, signaling with a subtle hand motion. Others understand, positioning themselves silently in a circle, encircling the prey with uncanny precision. This is coordination without words, intelligence expressed through action. The shared focus, the collective awareness, and the unspoken trust between individuals reveal the earliest seeds of social organization. These interactions are not only practical, they are formative. Through collaboration, empathy begins to emerge. By observing and responding to each other's cues, early humans are learning to predict behaviors, forge alliances, and develop the rudimentary foundations of social bonds. Every hunt, every shared meal, and every narrowly avoided danger strengthens these connections, building a culture of interdependence that is critical for survival. Take a moment to reflect and comment. Below, how do you think these early hominids decided who would lead a hunt? Could you imagine coordinating silently in such a high-stakes environment, relying entirely on gestures and intuition? Your thoughts may echo the very questions our ancestors faced millions of years ago as they navigated the delicate balance between competition and cooperation in a harsh, unpredictable world. As the shadows lengthen and the hunt concludes, these early social structures are quietly solidifying, preparing the band for the next critical challenge, developing strategies for collective hunting that rely on both cunning and coordination. The savanna is alive with movement, a rhythm of life and death that early humans must navigate with skill and cunning. In these first collective hunts, strategy is everything. Observing a herd of antelope or a solitary juvenile elephant, hominids learn to exploit patterns of behavior, using patience and timing as their most potent weapons. It is not brute force, but careful orchestration that ensures success. Hunting begins with reconnaissance. Scouts move silently, tracking footprints and droppings, reading the subtle signs left by prey. A rustle in the grass, the flash of a tail, or the distinct aroma of a herd signals opportunity. Communication is minimal yet precise. A sharp glance, a low grunt, or a raised hand informs the rest of the band without alerting the target. These signals are the language of survival, honed through countless encounters with the unpredictability of nature. Ambushes are carefully designed. Hunters position themselves along natural funnels, riverbanks, narrow clearings, or dense thickets, herding animals toward these points with rhythmic noise or coordinated movements. The prey, unaware of the invisible trap, moves as the humans guide, encircled by silent shadows poised to strike. Cooperation is essential. One misstep could spook the herd, waste energy, and invite predators. Every action is deliberate, a choreography of survival executed without formal plans or spoken commands. Primitive traps are also used, pits hidden by foliage or simple barriers fashioned from branches and stones. These inventions represent the first glimpses of engineering applied to hunting, a tangible testament to early human ingenuity. Through trial and error, these techniques become more sophisticated, demonstrating an intuitive understanding of animal psychology and environmental manipulation. The stakes are high. Each hunt carries risks, injuries from hooves or tusks, encounters with predators, or exhaustion from long pursuits. Yet the rewards are immense: food for the group, strengthened social bonds, and invaluable lessons in strategy and cooperation. These early collective hunts lay the groundwork for cultural evolution, where knowledge is passed down through observation, imitation, and shared experience. As the sun begins to sink, casting long shadows over the savanna, the band regroups, triumphant or empty-handed. These early strategies, refined over generations, mark a turning point in human history. The recognition that intelligence, collaboration, and patience are as vital as physical strength in the eternal dance of predator and prey. In the hands of early hominids, stones and sticks transform into instruments of survival. These are not mere objects. They are extensions of the mind, each one carefully selected and shaped for a purpose. A sharp-edged rock becomes a cutting tool, a scraper, or even a weapon, demonstrating an intuitive understanding of materials and their potential. Sturdy branches serve as clubs, spears, or probing tools, bridging the gap between instinct and strategy. The creation of these tools is a meticulous process. Stones are struck at precise angles to produce edges capable of slicing meat or breaking bones. This is not random action. It is the earliest form of engineering, a deliberate manipulation of the environment to achieve a goal. Each tool carries the signature of its maker, a silent testament to skill, creativity, and ingenuity. Weapons, though primitive, amplify the power of cooperation. Spears thrown in unison, rocks rolled down slopes, or branches used to drive prey toward an ambush demonstrate coordinated effort. These implements allow hominids to tackle larger, more formidable prey, reducing risk and maximizing the chances of success. The combination of strategic positioning and tool use marks a profound leap in cognitive and social development, bridging the gap between solitary survival and collective triumph. Tools also serve as teaching devices. Younger members of the group observe, imitate, and practice under the guidance of more experienced individuals. Through these interactions, knowledge is transmitted, becoming part of the cultural fabric of the band. Each generation builds upon the discoveries of the last, refining techniques, improving designs, and expanding the repertoire of survival strategies. Consider the ingenuity required to transform raw materials into life-saving instruments. The earliest hominids are not only hunting, they are problem-solving, inventing, and collaborating in ways that will echo across millennia. Every sharpened stone, every crafted spear, is a bridge between instinct and intellect, shaping the destiny of our species as much as any hunt or gathering. As the band surveys the spoils of a successful hunt, these tools lie at the center of their achievement, illustrating the profound link between innovation, cooperation, and survival. This sets the stage for understanding not just the hunt itself, but the intricate social and practical structures that define early human life. After a successful hunt, the focus shifts from action to organization. The spoils of the hunt are more than sustenance. They are a reflection of social structure, cooperation, and unspoken rules that govern the group. In these early bands, sharing is not just generosity, it is survival. Dividing the kill ensures that each member receives enough to endure the harsh savanna, while also reinforcing bonds and social cohesion. Observation reveals patterns. The strongest, most experienced hunters often claim first portions, followed by younger or less skilled members. Yet this hierarchy is subtle, fluid, and context-dependent, not rigidly enforced. Knowledge is power, but survival is collective. Every distribution carries an implicit lesson in fairness, hierarchy, and interdependence. Conflicts may arise, but the risk of starving or weakening the group ensures cooperation over selfishness. These interactions are profoundly social. By sharing food, early humans reinforce alliances, reward effort, and transmit knowledge about hunting and foraging success. Young hominids learn not only the practical skills of processing meat and carrying supplies, but also the unwritten codes that maintain harmony within the group. Through this daily ritual, empathy, reciprocity, and social intelligence emerge, laying the groundwork for complex human societies. Imagine witnessing such a moment, the tension of the hunt giving way to quiet negotiation over the meat, glances and gestures communicating priorities and respect, and an unspoken understanding that survival depends on more than strength. It depends on cooperation and wisdom. These early rules are subtle yet profound, shaping behavior, teaching patience, and establishing the first forms of social accountability. Take a moment to comment. Below, how do you think these early humans decided who received the first portions? Would you have followed the unspoken rules or challenged them? Your reflections echo the dilemmas faced by our ancestors, navigating survival, fairness, and group cohesion in a world of constant uncertainty. As the sun sets over the savannah, the group's bonds are reinforced, not through language, but through shared experience and mutual reliance, setting the stage for the next chapter. The ever-present risks of hunting and the adaptations that early humans developed to survive them. Every hunt carries danger, a truth that early humans understood intimately. The savannah is alive not just with prey, but with predators far more powerful and agile than the hominids themselves. A misstep could mean injury from the hooves of an antelope, a tusk from a young elephant, or the sharp claws of a lurking predator. These constant threats demanded vigilance, quick reflexes, and clever adaptations that shaped both body and mind. Hunting in groups mitigated some risks, but introduced new challenges. Coordination required trust, attention, and timing. One miscalculated movement could disrupt the hunt or expose the band to attack. Early humans learned to read the behavior of animals with acute precision, understanding flight patterns, predicting herd movements, and sensing the presence of predators long before a direct encounter. These skills were not innate. They were honed through experience and observation, passed down through silent imitation and hands-on guidance. Physical adaptations also emerged as a response to these pressures. Robust limbs, enhanced stamina, and precise hand-eye coordination improved their ability to chase, strike, and manipulate tools. Cognitive evolution followed suit. Problem-solving, planning, and memory became crucial for survival. Every close call with danger reinforced the link between mental agility and physical resilience, accelerating the development of intelligence that would later define Homo species. Moreover, the constant threat of injury or death promoted social learning. Individuals who observed successful hunters gained insight without taking unnecessary risks. Knowledge of predator behavior, safe approaches, and effective ambush strategies became cultural assets, ensuring that the group's collective wisdom grew with each encounter. The interplay of risk, adaptation, and learning illustrates a fundamental truth. Early humans were sculpted by their environment as much as they shaped it. Survival was not a solo endeavor, but a dance of cooperation, innovation, and resilience, where the lessons learned on the edge of danger propelled the species toward remarkable evolutionary achievements. As dusk falls and the band retreats to safer ground, the lessons of the hunt resonate beyond immediate survival, preparing them for a world where intelligence, strategy, and adaptation are as vital as strength, speed, and stamina. This sets the stage for understanding the broader impact of hunting on the ecosystem itself. As early humans refined their hunting techniques, their presence began to ripple through the ecosystems they inhabited. Even small bands could influence the populations of herbivores, subtly shaping the behavior and distribution of prey species. Tracks left in the grass, scents carried by humans, and the sudden absence of vulnerable individuals caused animals to alter grazing patterns, migration routes, and social structures. The savanna was a web of interdependent life, and humans were emerging as an unpredictable force within it. Predators and scavengers also responded to human activity. Large carnivores might follow the bands, seeking scraps or challenging them for a fresh kill. Conversely, the successful removal of certain prey by humans could relieve pressure on smaller herbivores, inadvertently creating ecological niches. These interactions demonstrate that early humans were not just passive participants in the ecosystem, they were agents of change, influencing the environment in ways that would become increasingly profound over millennia. hunting demanded a keen understanding of ecology. Early humans observed which areas yielded the most reliable prey, how seasonal patterns affected herd movements, and where water sources concentrated animals. They were learning to navigate the delicate balance between taking enough to survive and overexploiting resources, a precursor to the complex relationship between humans and nature that continues today. Through these interactions, humans became both students and architects of their environment. The survival of the group depended not only on skill and cooperation, but also on an intuitive understanding of the rhythms and limits of the ecosystem. Every successful hunt was both a triumph and a lesson, teaching early humans the consequences of their actions and the subtle art of coexistence with the natural world. The imprint of these early hunters on the landscape highlights a profound truth. Humans were beginning to wield influence not just over other species, but over the very structure of their habitats, setting the stage for the environmental transformations that would define our species' future. This leads naturally into the next chapter. The enduring legacy of these first collective hunts in shaping human society. As the sun rises over the ancient savanna, the echoes of countless hunts resonate across time. The cooperative strategies, silent communication, and social bonds forged during these early collective hunts laid the foundation for what it means to be human. Beyond mere survival, these experiences nurtured intelligence, empathy, and the ability to plan collaboratively, traits that continue to define our species today. The legacy of these early hunters extends beyond the physical skills of stalking, ambushing, or wielding tools. They cultivated an understanding of group dynamics, resource management, and risk assessment. By navigating the complexities of cooperation and competition, they created the blueprint for human societies, teaching future generations that survival is inseparable from collaboration and shared knowledge. Even our modern lives, removed by millions of years from the savannas of Africa, carry traces of this heritage. The instinct to work together, to communicate through subtle cues, and to share resources can be traced back to these first coordinated hunts. Each social structure, each organized endeavor, and each innovation is, in a way, a continuation of the lessons learned on the open plains of the Plio-Pleistocene. As we reflect on this ancient legacy, it becomes clear that the story of early humans is not just about hunting or survival. It is about the birth of social intelligence, the first sparks of culture, and the enduring capacity to shape both our environment and ourselves. The collective hunts of 2.1 million years ago remind us that humanity's path has always been intertwined with cooperation, adaptation, and the courage to confront the unknown together. The echoes of these early hunters resonate not only in the tools they crafted or the prey they pursued, but in the very essence of human connection that continues to define us today. Their ingenuity, resilience, and collaborative spirit are not relics of the past. They are living legacies embedded in the human story, guiding us as we navigate the challenges and opportunities of the present.